Yeah, so I guess like we were saying before all this bullshit, it's been like 2 weeks or so. So yeah, but I didn't really hear because I was trying to fix the recording thing. So tell me what's been up. I know you said you were trying not to crash out being home for the holidays this time.
Well, every time I visit home, usually my brain doesn't let me like fully enjoy it because I'm just stressed out about, oh, I need to work, I need to work. And then when I do work, it's very like an hour here, 2 hours there, and it's like my mind is so full of stuff I can't really like hyper focus. Whereas this time around, I gave myself a couple of days, and what helped a lot was I flew in on Christmas Eve. So it wasn't like I flew in 3 days early, and I'm just kind of like sitting around waiting for Christmas and like having to kind of see family, but kind of work. I just came in the day before, so it was like I came in and it was a couple of days of like seeing the family and everything, and then I was able to kind of transition back into like yesterday. I was able to work for like 5 6 hours straight. Today I spent time with my brothers, but like I'm allowing myself to do that. And it's a little different now because I have a store with ads up that are running. So it's like
Yeah.
things are happening, like money's being made. It's not like progressing, but money's being made. Whereas before it was like I need to make a new video, new video, new video. It was like this flywheel, hamster wheel that I was stuck on. So that's been good. I was kind of floating around like before this little Christmas thing. Like I had a really good Cyber Monday and like the Cyber 5 was okay. And then the margins were getting kind of slim. Like some days I'd lose money, some days it was like 20 30% profit. And then everyone says, "Oh, it's gonna be that Christmas week lull, like reel your budgets back." And things were getting a little unprofitable and breaking even. So I reeled my budgets back, but then like since the day I got here, so maybe 4 or 5 days ago, I reeled my budgets back, but I've been getting like similar revenue to before. So basically, my ROAS just went up and my profit margins are up. So it's actually been like good profit every day I've been here, which
Nice.
is also good for the mental. Because if I was like
Yeah.
negative every day, I'd be like, oh, I really got to work and change
Yeah.
things. But like since money's being made, it's not as taxing on the mind. But I'm also like itching to get back into it because we got the big 2 6 coming up. The year
Hmm.
everything changes.
Yeah, facts for sure. Dude, I'm feeling really good about this year. I've got I even set up like a special call I'm doing with the guys in the school community tomorrow for New Year's Eve, where I'm basically like gonna give them all like a game plan for the year and shit. Like I think and several of them are doing the 12 by 30 that we did.
hmm
So yeah, I think it's all cylinders a go. Like I think this is gonna be a good year. Do you think January is still gonna end up being a really good year for 24th? I mean 20 month for 24th that is.
I think so because I classify it as a health product, and most health products, it's not a supplement, but it's a health product. And supplements, which are health products, historically do better in January, February compared to December because it's not the same. It's not like a gifting thing. It's more of like I'm getting my stuff together. Let me get all the creatines and vitamin D's and like muscle builders and yada yada. So now I got to get 24th into that mix with the glasses, and I'm really just betting on an overarching trend of more and more people waking up to it. So I feel like, especially based on the past 30 days, I'm like one or two lever like changes away from like 100K months revenue, not profit, but still cool. Cool
No, that's
screenshot.
still dope. Yeah. No, well, like, I feel like a good ad angle for you would literally just be like, so you're starting this New Year's off, you bought all your supplements, you got that gym pass. Well, here's something else you should consider. Like something like that, I feel like would definitely play well for it. And that's how you can mentally associate it with health in people's minds, I feel like too.
Yeah. Yeah, something like that. Something like don't let another year go by where you're not 100%. Another year go by where you're going to sleep bad. Another year go by where you're
Yeah, that's
tired every
gay.
day.
Yeah.
Like throw them into that next year December regret of like I didn't do everything I could because I was tired or I couldn't
Dude, yeah, that's
focus.
good. I like that. Yeah, I feel like that's the way you could pivot it as a health product, just like angle it that way. So I think that would be sick. So
Yeah,
yeah,
you
you
gotta step
wanted
it up.
to I guess do this call. You said you wanted to like reflect I guess on 2025 and then game plan 2026. So like what did you have in mind? What did you want to talk about with that?
For recapping 2025,
Yeah, what do you think?
for
How
me,
would you grade the year?
it's weird because it's one of those things where it didn't go at all how I like envisioned it going in. But then this is the first year we're looking back. I'm like everything like that happened needed to happen. Like I'm more
Mm-hmm.
like I'm like glory to God, like maybe divine intervention at certain points that we could talk about, and just everything from the past couple years accumulating and pushing me into this clear path. Whereas before it was a lot of like, I'm gonna do this and this and this and whatever. Where so I feel like this year I thought it was gonna be more results,
Hmm.
and these last like couple months there's some results, but it's really been more learning and clarity, where it's like, okay, this is actually like 2026 is the year to like get immense results in comparison to like anything prior in my endeavors, because I'm hitting the floor like sprinting even more than last year, even though like this time last year we were gearing up for a 12 by 30.
Hmm.
Everything that happened this last year, I feel like you would say the same for both of us, like needed to happen, because now we're exactly where we're supposed to be. Whereas before
Yeah.
we were kind of putting round pegs into square holes at times, or losing clarity and crashing out for a few days, or this or that, you know?
Yeah. No, I would definitely agree with that. Like the square peg and round hole thing. It was like we were trying to mash the YouTube button to create all of our outcomes, I feel like, and we kind
Yeah.
of like pivoted to real businesses, which is like the lesson of this. I think that was one of the biggest lessons I got out of this, was just like the difference between creating organic content to try and sell like a community or an info product, and like running that as a business, which it can be a business, versus like like more of a like real business, it just like it's a completely different game. It's honestly more fun, and it feels like like we're in the right vehicle for our goals. And
There's a
so
whole different aura to it. There's a whole different sense. Like
yeah.
the black hole turned into, before it was I'm throwing this effort into a black hole and hoping it spits something out
Hmm.
at me at some point. Whereas now it feels like I'm throwing my effort into building something that in itself holds value and spits out money here and there.
Yeah. Black hole you're referring to, for because nobody's gonna know what you're talking about, is like YouTube throwing out the fucking
Organic content, which I
organic
still love
content.
organic content.
Yeah.
That'll always be a part of both of our lives,
Yeah.
but it wasn't for what we currently want to do. We were trying to like almost, because we want to do content, we want to have big personal brands and all this, and I think we were trying to just like go straight like brute force through the organic content route. When at least for me, I know my skill set actually really suits ecom.
Hmm.
Like I'm like I started running ads maybe 6 7 months ago, and I'm already like profitable. I'm like a couple months, if not 1 2 months away from 6 figures a month revenue, and
Yeah.
it's like
That's
I'm like,
badass,
okay,
dude.
like
Yeah.
it's like I'm like, damn, I should have done this a little sooner, but also I couldn't have, because everything needed to happen. Like all the lessons I learned from selling info, from doing organic content, from like obsessively studying like all the goats of ecom and whatnot, it all had to happen.
Dude, that does make me like something I've been thinking about, is like the amount of things even this year that I'm like, I kind of look back and I'm like, lesson learned, like I shouldn't have maybe invested in that, or I made a mistake with this or that, like, but I'll still see that there was a net positive even in the mistake. And so it's like, don't make the mistake moving forward, but it's all still like piling up in the right direction. It's like I had to learn this lesson. Like I had to like a big one for me was like with real estate being so like it's just such an up and down business where I could have like $25,000 month and then no money, and it's just like and learning how to map that out in my head, because that was the thing that would get me into trouble, is like I'd get aggressive with the money I had and then I'd hit a lull and I didn't know how to predict these things. And it's like I'm honestly glad I had to learn this lesson now on my own, rather than when I've got a staff of people with mortgages to pay and I'm responsible for making sure they win and I'm being aggressive. Like, so it taught me a lesson in that like I need to know going into PED and all that stuff. And I totally agree with like the things that we've learned to this point with content creation. It sets us up for the bigger opportunities that we're now doing. And I feel like even realizing like certain people work differently, and I think like we clearly have that ability to just like focus on one thing that's a black hole and just like go for it and go for it and go for it. And that's like what you were saying, like e-com suits that fit. And that's another thing I figured out with real estate. I watched this interesting YouTube short Hormozy had, where he was talking about their like businesses have different shapes, I don't know if you saw this, but he was talking about like e-com's like a ladder. It's like you have like a supply constraint, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like you fix it, and it's so that you go
Yep.
up the ladder. And he said like local service businesses, they're like a linear growth, so it's just straight up. And then it's like SaaS is, you know, slow, and then boom,
Yeah.
huge
Yeah.
exponential thing. And then the other one was like, I think info products. It's like quick growth, and then you hit a hard ceiling with it. And that
Yeah.
was such a like that was a light bulb for me because there is real estate's a linear business. And so that was one
Oh
where
yeah.
I was trying to, and you know, like we talked about this in some of our calls and stuff. I'd be trying to like mash the real estate button as hard as I could. And that was such an aha. I was like, there's only so much you can do because this is just a linear growth business. Like I could pump a shit ton of ad money into it and get the income up for it. But as soon as I turn the ads off, it's just going to go away anyways. And then so it's like, I would have to build a huge infrastructure, ad budget, agents underneath me, and all this stuff. It just didn't really fit. Whereas, like, you get into e-com, you're like, oh, that makes sense. Like, solve a constraint, solve a supply issue, get an ad that works. It's like boom, 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 and it's just like a black hole you can like suck yourself into. And I honestly like that kind of thing because I freak the fuck out if I don't have work to do. Like, I almost need to
Yeah.
work 10 to 12 hours a day, or I'll lose my like grip with reality.
And with here there is, because there's different, which eventually that won't be the case. We'll have employees and contractors and whatnot. But right now, if I'm burnt out of ads, I can go work on the site. You know, if
Mm-hmm.
I'm burnt out on that, I can go work. I can go into my ads manager and like review the past week of performance and stuff. Whereas like with content, you have to be in a creation state. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's all it is. Unless you're editing, it's still editing is a creative endeavor. At least if you're autistic like me. But eventually, I hired it out and whatnot. But no, I completely agree. And it also seems like like you may not have noticed, but I've noticed because we are still kind of self improvement stuff, even though this might be a more businessy call. I
Mm-hmm.
have noticed in both of us, but also especially you, like personal growth in a lot of aspects. We both gotten very good at surrendering in an aspect
Yeah,
because
definitely
we dove
better.
back into some David Hawkins
Mm-hmm.
and some other stuff, and becoming more like I'm gonna put this thing out there and like that's it. I'm not, instead of like trying to pull in, like brute force pull something in. And I feel like that's helped a lot with our mental, and it actually prepared us mentally for entrepreneurship and a lot of ecom, because that's like this, you know, some days like, oh, I made $500, oh, I lost $700, you know. So you have to be in this place where it's like, I did this, now it's whatever, and I just trust the process that something's going to come back. So I think that was good. Both our heads seem to be a lot more on our shoulders, whereas last year we were doing okay, but I think there was a sense of like we need this 12 by 30. Like we need
Yeah.
this 12 by 30. Whereas now I'm like I could do it and it be coming from a much better place, but I like overall with work I'm in just a better place. I don't have that kind of sickness that I had
Yeah.
before.
Well, I think the 12 by 30 just proved to us who we were. Like, that's what I really needed it for. I needed it to
Yeah.
show me that I really was that guy. And it's like 99% of people just can't do that. Like, they cannot work that hard and sustain it. And then just the tangible results. Like, it's just, I think that really was a big unlock for me, too, of just my, like, I think one of the big lessons I got this year was like, I've had this thing in my head forever that I've wrestled with, I think, between like outrageous confidence in myself where like I literally think like I could be the president, I could beat LeBron James in basketball, like you name it, I could do it. But then I also have crippling self-doubt going on a lot of times at the same time, or fear that it's not going to work out. I think I really just like I still have fears and shit like that, but like I just blew through that to like a point where I was like I broke a glass ceiling like in
Mm.
January, like just seeing like I did work and I had the best month I'd had in my YouTube channel to that point, and I had the most money I'd ever made in a month to that point. And I'm like, okay, like effort equals result. Like there's nothing holding me back here. It was like just a shattered a glass ceiling for me. And I think that's really where the mindset started to change is I've had like throughout my 20s just that battle of like I will take action, I will be bold, I'll move to Houston, Texas and just say fuck it, let's go for it. But then in the back of my mind fighting this voice that like somehow I'm being stopped or there's this wall over me. I think that's where a lot of the mental anguish would come from. And like breaking that, like I'm still going through challenges. I mean, even recently, like, at the end of the year, like balancing expenses from real estate and spending the money on the PED, because I did the deposit on that the other day. So the inventory's
Nice.
set to start coming in and all that shit. Spending that money, the fact that other things have come in as expenses. Like I've been honestly, like December's been a tough month for me mentally a bit. Like I've been just kind of like trying to get shit because real estate's super slow then too, and then trying to map that out and predict it into the future. Like when I get when I get my logical mind in the right spot, like I'm like 2026, I should
It was
absolutely
rough just
crush this
because of
shit.
the unpredictability of real
Yeah,
estate
just
right
like
now.
I'm sinking a shit ton of money into stuff and money's not coming in at the pace that it needs to match that
Right.
because it's December, and just not like, again, having to learn that lesson of how to appropriately balance all those kinds of things. And I kind of did lose, I will be honest, I did lose my surrender for a bit during this month. Like I've it's been a difficult month for me mentally. Not like I'm like crashing the fuck out, but just stressed out because I'm like, I need a lot of things to come into place. And there's just so many things that feel like they're really up in the air. Truthfully, I think the more I look at them, like it's pretty clear. It's just there's so much noise going on that I'm like, fuck, like this feels like a lot. Um, but when I look at it logically, I'm like 2026 should absolutely crush, but I kind of lost my point with this one. I think I was just saying like I'm still struggling with these kinds of things, but I think
Yeah.
it's still, even in the face of it, like knowing like just keep putting your head down. I honestly, I think boxing has helped me a lot with this too. Like real shit. Like you're sparring somebody who's really good, who's training to be a pro fighter, and they're beating the fuck out of you, and just like finding that gear to just keep fighting in the face of that, and like kind of learning to even accept these things as a part of reality. I think that's another mindset shift I had this year, was like understanding, like going from wishing things would go well to realizing I'm the kind of guy who can handle it whether it goes well or not, and I
Mm.
can just figure it out.
Yeah, yeah. No, I've done that a couple times where I keep running it through my mind. I'm like, this could all fall apart. I'm like so fine. Like I will
Yeah.
never be on the streets.
Yeah.
Like God willing, but like I will never be on the streets. Like there's always something to fall back. I have all these skills where it's like I'm not gonna go back to college. I'm not gonna go back to some normie job. Like I'm fine.
Yeah.
And you have to just keep checking yourself because the brain in that temporary state will just catastrophize like over nothing. Like I'll just see like one of the things I've been more aware about is like what kind of tips me and what kind of like sets me off. And one of the things is
Hmm.
because when I started 24th, which for those that don't have context, it's a like premium blue blocking glasses brand that I've started. That's what I'm going all in on now, which we'll get to that as we continue recapping the year. But I'll see competitor ads now because when I started a year ago, there was like three big brands. All their marketing was bad. I saw the gap. I saw the trend. I got into it. Now, there's like crummy $5 versions of these kinds of glasses on AliExpress. So every drop shipper that's like decent and can build an ad and some landing pages is hopping into it. So I notice if I scroll too much, because I scroll to like watch ads and stuff, and I see my competitors and like maybe their ad has like 5,000 likes, and I'm just like, that my brain just like starts like in the background, it's like you need to be grinding out like a million ads a day, and like
Hmm.
it starts like saying you need to, and it also tells me you need to do things that I know I'm like that's not even possible. Like I know how much output I can do. Like my
Hmm.
brain will be like tomorrow you need to make 20 different video ads, and it's like okay, well, it takes me like 2 to 3 hours per. So like literally just not possible. But my brain's like, you have to, or everything's gonna fall apart. Whereas
Yeah.
now I can kind of like I can catch that. I can prevent those mini crash outs from happening. But another thing I was gonna say on you is I feel like you're even if December was not the best, I feel like you're much more well rounded. I'm not trying to glaze as like a person. Whereas like I feel like maybe a year ago, which I know this is brand, but like
Right.
there was a bit more of the like the douche mentality that was like not like the positive side, but more like the that kind of compensation of the fears and stuff. Whereas
Hmm.
now you feel more well rounded, where you still have like that sharp edge to you, but you also have like a more in tune with feelings, a more like relatable, caring for like others in the world and spiritual kind of aspect about you, where like it's
Yeah.
more well rounded now instead of just like one harsh edge that's like kind of hiding things in the back.
Yeah, I'm not a complete dickhead anymore, like 90% dickhead. Yeah.
I was trying
No,
to
that's
say that in a fancy way.
yeah, no, that's probably true. I think strangely enough, despite the fact that this was far and away the best year financially, just generally, I'd say this was the best year of my life. I mean, just from the trips we took to the growth to
That's
the
weird to
success.
think. I don't even like
Yeah.
because when I look at it, I'm like, yeah,
Yeah,
like
this was
what's
the
the
best
best
year
for
of
me
my life.
too,
Yeah, I
and it's
think
like brain doesn't
s
even want to acknowledge it.
yeah, and that's another thing I was even gonna talk about, but, I was gonna say, not only was it the best year of my life, but it was also strangely the most humbling year of my life because I also just got that, like, I guess taking the chances, taking the risks, and finding that balance between realizing, like, yes, it is on the effort and it is about you taking action but like there's something about it that's just out of your control and being at peace with that and that almost having that ability once I see that starting to, I guess, understand that something seems to be looking out for me, not like it's looking out for me more than anybody else, but just something does seem to be looking out for me. And so maybe I should return the favor to other people and try to look out for them too.
Mm,
And I think that's been something where I try to and maybe it's just a byproduct of not being in scarcity financially where you just like naturally are like I don't have to be worried about like is the bills going to be paid? Am I going to have a roof over my head next week? So now maybe I can be more generous to people. But I definitely feel more in that space where like I mean I always wanted to, but I think now I'm enacting it more where I genuinely I wanna connect well with people. I wanna see everybody thrive, and I really don't, not that I wanted people around me to fail, but I guess maybe I have the mental space now to genuinely support the people around me more than I used to when I felt like the world was just crashing down if everything didn't work out right and it was all on my shoulders. So, yeah, it's been a weird balance of, like, awesome year, but also very humbling year at the same time.
yeah, same. No, that makes
Yep.
sense. You get out of that because there is, and we might have been over programmed with like gurus and stuff of like you have to be so fucking selfish, like
Mhm.
don't go to
Yeah.
grandma's funeral, like all this crazy stuff, just grind. And there's some truth to that, but we're both in a place where it's like, okay, I can care about others. Like, I'm
Mhm.
not like if you're on the street or if you're like you got $0 or you're got crazy debt or like you're in your mom's house or whatever. It's like, yeah, you gotta just go internal. You gotta just be selfish. But we're at a place where it's like that would just be being a dickhead because like we can do it either way.
Yeah.
And also like we're both like Christian and spiritual. It's just not what we're called to do. Which that's what I was gonna
Mhm.
say. But the same with me was also like best year and humbling as well because I got hyper involved in the church. I got like charismated and I'm like humbling myself to like nothing on a weekly basis, if not like
Mhm.
bi-weekly, and that's done a lot for me. Like which is crazy. Like you would like people on the outside would be like, well, that doesn't make sense. You're lowering your self-image. You're lowering your identity. It's like I would, if any other aspect, if you have self-deprecating humor, if you talk bad about yourself to others, if you're around people that talk bad on you, if you consume content that makes you feel negative, be like, yes. But in the context of the church and of like Christ and God, it's like, it's literally the opposite. It's like I whittle my ego down enough to where the spirit enters. And of course, the spirit's going to outweigh any false sense of ego that you have. So it's been nothing but like upward positive trajectory and like personal development and an entrepreneurial because it's so much easier to let go of stuff. Because I'm like,
Mhm.
these are just numbers on screens. Like I am nothing. I don't even own this flesh. It's all a gift. It's all a blessing. Like I almost like, I'll like get a sale or like I'll have a good day and I'm like, okay, glory to God. Like I don't even want to touch it. I don't even want to like claim it's mine. Like
Yeah.
I just want this flow to keep happening. Like I just want to like kind of control this flow of water and build this dam right here and whatnot.
Dude, that's like, honestly, the biggest revelation I had about the Tate fight was realizing the difference between I knew this, but just it was such a clear display to me of the difference between ego and confidence. Like you're talking there, like humility to the prideful person seems like a weakness, but to the truly confident person, it is actually a strength. And you can see
Yes.
that for that. And that was another thing I think was a big takeaway for me this year is maybe once I accomplished some things, it's like a lot of the guru facade fell away for me with a lot of people. Like not
Oh
just
yeah.
Tate, but just like I was like,
I'm
these
over
people
all of
are
it, bro.
yeah, these people ain't shit, man. And like I kept like I feel like the more we go along, and it's funny we just talked about humility, but now I'm gonna gas this up. Like I do feel like I don't find people who I'm like on the who have this kind of mentality. They just even like people that you're like, oh, this guy, he's like up here. It's like I'll run into him. I'm like, I feel like I'm gonna blow you out over time, dude, if I want to here. Like I just you're not working as hard, you don't have the ambition, you're not like there's chinks in your armor, and I got chinks in my armor too, but like it's it's like I guess I just look at like the gurus, it's all just fucking facades. And maybe that's like I try to be on my channel at this point just super honest about everything, even if I'm like, yeah, my December's been fucking stressful as shit. Like, I just think that that's just like real life. And I just realized this year, like with the exception of Alex Hormozy, who might actually be untouchable, but the rest of them, the rest of you motherfuckers, you guys are
Hermosi
like,
doesn't know God. It's the only chink.
yeah, that's his chink in
And
his
it's not in a
armor.
business context. So like,
Yeah.
uh,
But
am I froze? Oh no, there we go. I was gonna say
yeah, you
though, the one
froze for a
thing even
second.
for Hermosi, like, because we were talking about we would spend a lot of money on info and all this stuff. I hate that we bought I'm glad we did it, but we bought the $100 million launch thing, and the
Hmm.
PDFs were on Reddit within 48 hours.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, that's not even an advantage over the competition because they can just go online and Google it and find it. Which it
Yeah.
seems like the AI is getting better. I haven't needed it. I haven't even touched it really. I know
I've
you've
used it
worked with it a
some.
little more, and it
Yeah.
seems like it's getting better and better.
Well,
So
that's
that
good.
could be worth it because we get like a lifetime access to it, which you might try
Yeah,
more on in the
I
future.
yeah, I don't regret that one. And I did it paid for itself with stuff that I applied out of it. So I do feel like that one paid for itself. And I try to not, even with like sports stuff, a lot of times, like if we're gonna watch a fight or something, I try to usually even pay for the fight because I feel like I just don't want to be like one of these. Like it depends, like if it's some shit I don't care that much about, I'll go on some bootleg stream for it. But like I try to support these things because you think about like how, like, honestly, Alex Ramosi must have been pissed when he saw that shit leaked. When you think about how much work he put
Oh,
into it
I'm
and it
sure.
immediately leaks like
Because it
that, he
was an
must have been
issue with the
pissed.
AI. It was an exploit where you could like inspect element and like ask it to like mention something from the book, and then somehow in the inspect element in the code, because it's citing the PDF, because it had to be fed the PDF to like give responses based on the writings. You could grab the PDF out of the code because it popped up in the inspect element side. So that's how they got it. So that is like annoying. So it's like it's not on him. It's not like he was like, oh, thanks for the money. Now it's all free or whatever.
Yeah.
It's still personally, I'm like, because it's like the
Yeah,
uh,
it's
the
a
angle of
sting.
a competitive edge is gone because like now everyone has it.
I
But
feel like the competitive edge is in the fact that we're the kind of people who are willing to invest the money. That's a
yeah,
personality advantage.
well,
Most
and
of
I
these
just
people who are looking
yeah,
for
that's fair.
leaks on shit, I
Yeah,
think
and
that's our edge.
the one thing I forgot about this, and honestly, I feel like at least as of right now, it's more valuable than the PDFs and the AI thing.
It's that
Was
4 hour
that was
call.
that 4 hour stream he did where the
Yeah.
whole thing was just how to identify constraints and that just simplified things to such a level. I'm like, oh, this is every business ever. It's just finding the constraint, and it
Yeah.
demystified stagnation in a business context. I was like, oh,
Hmm.
that was worth three. That was worth $3,000. So
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that one I thought was worth it. The MOA one is the one I'm like, that was a
nah,
sixty
dude,
eight
fuck
hundred
them,
dollars.
dude.
That might have been the
Air them
worst
out,
investment I've
bro.
ever made. That shit was that
Oh,
show's a joke. I look back, it's another one of those, like I said, where I look at it for the year and I'm like, I still netted positive things from it, and I learned lessons in investing in myself from that. Like I learned the nuances of investing in yourself, where like truthfully I was going to spend that money because it was the summer and I was getting aggressive and I wanted to make some shit happen. Had money burning a hole in my pocket, so it was going to that or it was going to a boat club. Like the money was going to get spent, but in hindsight I am like, yeah, fuck. Like, I really could have used that money on some other business ideas I had later in the year, and that could have solved a lot of issues
yeah.
had I not blown sixty eight
There was a
hundred
couple
dollars
tight
on that shit.
moments.
Yeah, a couple
Yeah,
tight
this
moments because
Q4 was. I was like,
it's
ooh.
crazy how like, dude, I don't because I think I made like 130 this year total, and like I was like down to the dime. Like I was really reinvesting, man. I walk my talk on that shit. I think I must have spent at least 15 grand on like reinvesting in myself on
Yeah,
shit
no,
this year.
dude, I don't save. I haven't saved in the past like 2 years.
Yeah, say I made a whole video about this actually for my school community guys today because I was like, saving is literally just such a scam when you think of it because the entire economy is designed for you not to save because they do the quantitative easing. You can't get any interest in the bank. The assets go up in value. They don't want you to save money. And then you got motherfuckers like Dave Ramsey who will tell you like, oh, just save your Starbucks money for the next 1,000 days and you can have five
Yeah,
grand or some shit. Like, what is
it's
that?
a
Like,
it's a
is
limited upside with a near infinite downside of saving money because money can go to zero, whereas
yeah.
investing in yourself and skills is an unlimited upside and like no downside,
Yeah.
no downside
Yeah. It's
unless it's MOA, I guess.
Yeah, unless it's that one. That one's like a sunk cost. You took an L on that one for sure. Yeah. Yeah. So I was thinking about that today. I was like, fuck, man. Like, and
Just
it is
punch in
what
the
it is.
air.
Yeah, I was like, man, I really could have used that money because I ended up doing a smaller order for PED. I could have probably like broke the bank and gotten like the bigger one with the cheaper inventory costs on it.
How many units
I
were
got
there?
144. So I was just like, I was kind of like analysis paralysising it for too long. This was part of what was stressing me out, I think, was I was like, okay, if I get this piece in place and this piece in place, then I can get, I'll just get the bigger order up front and then I'll be straight and then I can like cover my costs here. And like, I was like, I am over analyzing this thing. I just need to pull the trigger on something. And this is
Yeah,
the one that I'm confident I can
yeah,
definitely just go ahead and pay for and not be stressed. Cause I was like in my head, I was like, okay, like, yeah, but my inventory cost is going to be higher and like, it's going to be 8 weeks. Can I like, what's like, it was just too, I was just like, I need to just get this fucking ball rolling. I need the product in hand so I can get some ads going so I can send this to influencers and shit like that.
yeah. You're paying for the
So,
speed, so it's not wasted money. It's like when I
yeah,
like there was moments where I had to, instead of waiting for like longer shipping for stuff, I had to air it, and it was like an extra 500 to $1,000 for like
yeah,
cases, glass, like this part, that part, and I'm like, well, I'm paying to get it in a week instead of 3 or 4, so I can make
yeah,
money faster. So it was actually like a clear investment. Made perfect sense.
yeah. No, I agree. So that was, yeah, that was like I said, it was a very humbling year as well as a very successful year. And I do think that 2026 is going to be a lot better, honestly. Like we're both very, we've got huge goals, and so we're always, I think, I know for me, I'm always like overestimating what I can get done in a certain amount of time, and so part of me looks at 2025 at like only 130, like this is a joke or some shit like that. But I'm like, I mean, this is a lot better than it was last year. And it's a big progress. Like I can't look at anything and be like, even of the mistakes I made or the things I could have done better, it's like I had no way of knowing that. That's just growth in life. Like, I mean, so like I have to give myself, I'd say like probably like an A minus for the year. I'm never gonna give myself a full A, but I'm like overall, I'm like, I feel like I did pretty solid. I made a significant amount of progress with this year, and I feel like 2026 is gonna be just a whole nother level again.
Yeah, I would say the same. There was a pat like for the since like maybe 2020, 2021, it was like every year I would look back and be like, ah. I was
Yeah,
like, I didn't get,
yeah,
maybe the goal was like 500K subs, maybe the goal was like this much income, and I was like, I didn't hit it. So like Christmas was
yeah.
like this bittersweet, whereas this is the first year where I look back and I'm like, it's
Did
just
it.
gratitude. It's
Hmm.
like, and like I relinquished like hard number goals of like income or this or that or like subscribers or whatever, and like I just look back on like what happened, how I am now, how I'm positioned. I'm like position wise, I'm like this is like amazing. Where I'm like, and I'm still gonna set lofty goals. I'm like within a year I could be a millionaire in terms of like cash, a mixture of cash in the bank and the equity of the business. I'm like millionaire. That's like that sound like millionaire if we want to say that's like around 2 million. Like I'm like that's possible. Like that's like not even like that's like a small business. So I'm
Yeah,
like
yeah.
like it sounds big and then it doesn't, but I'm like that's but I'm not even gonna hard set anything because I'm like who knows, could be 10, could be 100.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, just mash the gas and go as hard as
But
you
yeah,
can. That's
I'll put
basically the
a
game.
I'll put a pin putting a pin unless well there's two things I was just gonna like wrap
Yeah,
up.
sure.
I don't know if you have anything else about the big 2-5 that you wanted to mention.
No, I mean, I think it was just a year of like huge growth, good lessons. It was, I agree. I remember us talking about this before 2025 started, where we were like both talking about like we keep coming up short like every year, like looking back. And like, I agree. It is like the first year where I'm like, nah, like I got it done. Like this was
Yeah.
like, I did what needed to be done. I feel like I grew. I feel like I did like 5 years of growth in one year, honestly. Like I just feel like I got a lot. I mean, even just outside of business with, just my general discipline, my general sense of like I can do anything I set my mind to, doing the boxing. I mean, in even like lessons I learned from that I took to business of just like kind of learning how to get good at things, really that it comes down to like an enormous amount of reps at fundamental elements and just do it. Like that's kind of what led to the growth that my YouTube channel did have, that led to the improvements that I've had in different things. It was just like realizing that was just stuff I took from doing boxing. And so like that's just an example of growth. But like, yeah, I guess that's really all I have to say about the year. Lots of growth, lots of progress, lots of gratitude and humility.
Yeah. There was one lesson that I learned. in not in like a harsh manner, but just like it's one of those lessons like, oh, I know, but you know, blah blah blah, and then I had to hard learn it was just the rule of one, which like
Mm-hmm.
people attribute that to Hermosi. Hermosi read Gary Keller's Rule of One. That's where he gets it from. He doesn't pay homage, but like it's Gary Keller's book,
Mm-hmm.
The Rule of One or whatever,
The one thing.
or the
Yeah.
one thing. The one thing.
Mm-hmm.
The Rule of One is something else. Yeah, the one thing. And I, going into 2024 or 2025 was like finally after the year like Audience Alchemy, which was my high ticket info thing, teaching like personal brand content, in selling info, all that kind of stuff, was like rolling, and that was like that set the tone for the beginning of the year. Whereas like 24th, the glass was like I was talking manufacturers here and there. I was like planning some stuff. I was playing around, but like until mid year, it wasn't like serious. Ads weren't up. Nothing was really happening with that. So it was just Audience Alchemy, and it was cool because I went from selling something that was a couple $100 to like when I launched it in 2024, it was like 1,200, 1,500. I kept making it better and better. 2,000, 2,500, 35 until eventually like my last couple closes were like 6K, 6,800 and whatnot. But that by that time, entering the summer, I relinquished the main channel for the most part. Like I cut that off, but it was still like it was Audience Alchemy and my second YouTube channel that got the leads, and it was 24th because 24th was now ads were up, and I was doing both, and like it was a lot, and neither were really doing the most it could because I was doing both. But I kept telling myself like, no, like I can do both. I know I can do both. Like I have an editor. I'm not editing anymore. I can do both. And dude, I feel like it was just God, like trying, like God having to be like, do I have to like hold your hand and walk you into this? Because just randomly, I was having like this somewhat steady lead flow. Randomly, the second channel just dies,
Mm-hmm.
like no views, like lead flow goes to zero, everything dies, and it while 24th was like I had some finally like reached kind of profitability, and I was like, okay, like the lily pad had to be like crystal clear right in front of me, so I finally was like, okay, I'm going all in on 24th. Like this is what I want to do. This is what I enjoy the most because I was looking forward to working on that the most. I love making ads the most, and that I had to learn that just I literally had to have all the things around me crumble, and like the rays of God shine on this one path to be like,
Mm-hmm.
oh yeah, right, the one thing, okay, I need to go down this one path and like not be pulled in all these different directions. So that was the main lesson. Then the one other thing I realized is with this entrepreneurship thing, especially as I was getting into ecom, running ads, not profitable for months, and any profit I made had to be fronted for inventory. So like, still I'm not pocketing anything, and then I'm also like was starting something with my girl, a jewelry brand. So like, money out of my bank going to her, Amex bill getting into like high five figures. And whatnot, and just seeing like debt, which is like whatever,
Yeah.
I can pay it off, I'm getting points, whatever, but still just seeing all these things, it reminded me also that like the levels of entrepreneurship is also levels of risk tolerance. And like I always thought like we're entrepreneurs, we're taking risk, and I'm like risky to do the same thing I've been doing for years, and it
Yeah.
costs me nothing to make videos. I pay an
Mm-hmm.
editor 100 whatever dollars, $200, like all this, whereas now it's like I'm really like putting my balls on the table, and just like I fully relinquished money. I'm like this number just goes in and out of these accounts, and it's like I can pay rent, whatever, that's fine. Like I can pay groceries and rent, we're good. So I'm also learning that, so that I have to remind myself like going to the next year, I'm like, okay, like we want to do these big things. The levels of the entrepreneurship is also the levels of like how much I can stomach risk, and I feel like I'm getting like better and better at that, which is showing that I'm evolving as an entrepreneur. Whereas before I was in a bit of a comfort. I think we both were, because I noticed like when things would happen or like friction or like uncertainty, we would go back to what we're comfortable with. Like we would
Yeah.
literally, I would go back to making videos, you would go back to making videos in even the same ways that we were comfortable with. Like even when we
Yeah.
were like with you, I remember we were planning like, oh, let's do this high production show thing, and it's like
Yeah. I just
slideshow
went
because
back to
this is and like
slideshow. Yeah.
the same thumbnails, and like same with
Yeah.
I was like the same educational stuff, and like not
Mm-hmm.
really going all in on ads or anything else with that. So that those were the two like last things I want to put in there, because those were major lessons where I'm like, okay, I can see clearly now.
Yeah, I guess if I could add one last thing before we go on is like part of the lesson of that, because I learned the same thing about one thing is getting better at identifying what is a good opportunity versus like what's a shiny object.
Yeah.
because it's like you'll be like, oh yeah, but I could change all this. Like even what we were talking about with the high production YouTube channel, it's like, okay, I go all in on that. What is the outcome I get? It's like not even the one I really want. It's not really going to get me where I want anyway. So it's like, it's just not. That's what I've had to kind of decide to do with this YouTube channel is like, what is the minimum amount of effort I can put into this with still getting a result that's acceptable to me, which is like, okay, cool. I got 1,000 views on this video. And like the people who fuck with the channel, fuck with it. Like,
Hmm.
and just having to be willing to let that go. Cause that's tough for me. Cause I'll be like, I need everything going forward at the same time. Like I had to, I guess we can just start on the 2026 plans with this, but like one thing I figured out for 2026 was like, part of me was like, I need real estate to get to this level and PED is going to get up here. And I was like, I just need real estate to just do the same thing a little bit better this
Yeah.
year. That's all
Yeah.
I need from it. Just pay me a little bit more money. I'm living off that. I don't want to take any money out of PED the first year and just let that shit go. And so I was just like systematize what I did this year because that swinging for the fences on some crazy attempt at that is just going to take all my mental energy. And that's again, the humility thing, I guess. I'm realizing like I can really at best balance one ball on my finger at a time. I can't be juggling 100 things at once. It just doesn't work.
Yeah. No, 100%. I'm trying to think, like, going into 2026, it's weird because, like, I'm not in, like, a this much money and this much this.
Mm-hmm.
So I have all this clarity. One thing I am thinking about is to get to where I want to be, I'm going to need to learn higher, like, I'm going to have to pay other people and I'm going to need to learn how to, like, teach and lead others, which is not like solopreneur one person business
Yeah.
anymore. It's like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
these are like the new skill tree that I got to
Mm-hmm.
start building and branching out on is probably that beyond anything else because like I can only go so far with it with just me when my competitors like they can make similar ads like they can spit out so much stuff like especially if I'm also having to do like five other things, which if I can hire someone to like help with this, help with that, maybe film me, make ads and stuff, hire production, and like let my lean into my like hidden advantages and willingness. It's another risk bearing thing. It's like, oh, I'm paying for this person. We have a friend we were talking about where it's like he's not in he's in a good spot to take a risk, but it's like I still am like he's betting on me in a sense of like, hey, I'm gonna pay you this much a month. I have to make that much extra a month profit to like pay him and my
Mm-hmm.
rent and this and that because like
Mm-hmm.
I don't do anything else. So
Yeah.
that's one of the things I'm thinking about going into it. But
Do you have
I'll
your
pick.
S corp set up for your LLC yet?
I was putting that off for next year. I was just
I
gonna like
would,
file everything under my LLC for this year and then like put
yeah, for
24th in its own thing.
2026, I would highly
Yeah.
recommend it because if you're going to make millions of dollars this year, which it sounds like you probably will at least do 1 million in revenue, because you can write off your employees on the taxes. So
Mm-hmm.
like it saved me money. I don't know how I have like I think my tax bill is like $1,100 on like 130 grand. I'm like or 140 grand or
Yeah,
some
I
shit.
think
I'm like,
mine's
let's
gonna be
fucking
similar
go. Like,
because
yeah.
only from the lot like it's gonna be rough because like I guess I could hire someone at this point, but I usually do my own, but like I'm gonna write off like everything. But it was like I went into it with like this much money in my account. I'm going out of it with like a very similar amount because I kept dumping it into the business. So I'm like
Hmm.
by logic, I'm like technically I like profited nothing on
Yeah.
taxes. So I'm like, oh, mine's was probably gonna be a couple grand, which is sick.
Yeah. That's another mindset shift, I guess, is like I'm going away. Like I don't even income doesn't mean shit. It's like revenue profit. What was gross profit here? Because like I paid myself out of the LLC $50,000 this year. So technically my income was fifty thousand
Hmm.
dollars, but like I had all this other shit and I wrote shit off and like paid half my rent with the fucking LLC. Like it doesn't even count. Like income's a normie number actually when you realize it. It's what's that profit? What's that revenue?
Yeah.
That's what you need to care about. So going into 2026 then so you don't have like a huge target. It sounds like you're just massive action on the same shit. It sounds
It's
like.
more personal. It's like do everything I feel like is required
Mhm.
and something good's gonna come out of it and I'm being more loose because also it's like tw- as of right now it makes sense to just do everything with 24th but I also am developing skills it's like eventually it's like I would love to sell supplements eventually I would love to I
Mhm.
see other trends in the market that I would love to hop on whereas right now it doesn't make sense for me to do the one
Mhm.
thing and whatnot
Mhm.
but it just makes sense like well either the glasses are gonna get there or I'm gonna get it to a certain level where like I'm somewhat stable and I can like keep running it or like sell some of it or whatever, and then I can do this thing that's a little higher and like I'm gonna keep climbing. So I'm like the trajectory is like I said, that path and the upward the stairs or whatever is like right in front of me. So it's like just don't be like a retard and don't mess it up. So it's also realizing like a lot. I understand, like I was saying earlier, I understand like, oh, if I go a little too crazy, like scrolling ads and I see a lot of competitors, my brain makes me think that the water's more bloody than it is. Because like, maybe I've seen like five competitors, and in my mind it's like every day there's a new one trying to.
Hmm.
They're stealing my hooks, they're stealing my music from my ads and stuff. When it's like five different
Nobody knows you
people.
exist. Yeah,
Yeah,
nobody
nobody
even
knows.
knows you
Nobody knows
exist
you
yet.
exist. There's markets that are untapped. Like their angles aren't that great. Like I got stuff in my back pocket for the next year, marketing wise, but it's that it is another big thing that I'm realizing. Like if I could go, like I think I wouldn't change anything about the past year because I had to learn this lesson, but it is like really trying to stay in that flow state is just so crucial, and especially Q4, I didn't meditate as much as I could have. I didn't like maintain flow as much as I could have for like sustained hours and hours and hours back to back to back. So January, like that's one of the things where like if I'm going to do what I want to do, I need flow state and I need a very high like signal to noise ratio, because like which the meditation helps because then I'm more aware of like, oh, yes, this is a thing, but it's not the thing I should be working on. This is actually noise and I need to like be able to cut that
Hmm.
off, which you need to be in a high mindful state to be able to do. But if I can do that, I'm like, seems like everything else is pretty well aligned as long as I don't crash to the abyss and keep going to church and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been trying to craft some shit for this coming year, and I'm like, the more I think about it, I'm like, just keep doing what I did in a lot of ways, like tinker with it and clean up some of the mistakes and, fix them. But generally speaking, it's just like go full speed ahead. I feel like that's what I did most of the year. If I can
Yeah.
just get more refined on that. My main goal this year that I had for myself was I really didn't set a dollar number for it because PED is a bit unpredictable. My goal is like it's just going to depend on how quickly I can get up to speed with inventory. But if I could do 500,000 in revenue with it in the first year, that would be awesome. It's just like it's going to depend on how much I can sink into inventory of it. I do think if I feel like it'll be pretty straightforward to find a good hook for that in ads, and seems like I think I'll have some success with influencers with that one as
Yeah. The
well. And it
product's not
just
the bottleneck. We've
yeah,
not we haven't like gone to market and like got a ton of feedback, but feedback from me, like people that know, feedback from people that would be the consumers, like the product is
everybody's
not the
stoked.
bottleneck. So
Yeah.
it's literally just figuring it out the marketing.
Yeah. And
So it
so,
simply will work unless you cease doing it.
yeah. Yeah. So I feel like I got an absolute winner here, and that's kind of my mindset to it too. I guess I'm thinking a bit I guess now that I'm 28, I'm going to be 29 next year. Maybe I've given up on the young 20s millionaire kind of vibe, and now I'm like I need to think longer term about the shit. Like not that it's not going to I think it can happen quickly, but like I said, I don't intend to take any money out of PED in this first year. I literally just want to reinvest all of it.
That's sick.
I I mean, I might even do it next year. We'll see. And I guess the only thing I'm really changing is like this year, I feel like even with the trips that I took this year, it's like I've got the mindset. Like I don't even think I need it. I think I need to just literally sit in a fucking room and just bang out ads. I don't need a
Yeah.
mindset trip.
Dude,
And
I am at
I,
the point where I'm literally in the point where I'm like all content is cope.
yeah,
Um, if I'm if I'm rereading cash advertising or if I'm
yeah,
rereading some marketing stuff or I'm reading like a book or like I'll listen to podcasts here and there, it's it's almost actually more beneficial to me for like if it's the end of the day and I'm eating dinner to like just put on like the Sam Hyde show or something, like
mm-hmm,
something funny,
mm-hmm,
like just chill out and like eat and like feel like I had a good day. Whereas in the past, like dude, we're just the worst about
yeah,
consuming like new Chris Williamson Hermosi, like new
yeah,
downloads. Where like I'm at the point where it's like no content is going to help, no
yeah.
guru is going to help. We literally know exactly what to do. It's just agency.
Yeah. No, I agree. That's why I'm like, I don't need anything to, I feel like my mindset is mostly right. Like I just
Hmm.
need to just mash the fucking button and just do this shit. And so I guess my goals for 2026, really, like I said, I didn't put a number to it, Mainly, it was just, like, make more money than I've ever made by a lot. That was really just the plan. I'm like, "I
Yeah,
just wanna get the fucking bag
that's
here."
it.
And I think I was struggling for a bit. I was trying to do the one thing kinda mindset of, like, I'm literally just gonna have the one goal, and that is still my dominant goal. But honestly, I watched something from, Captain Sinbad actually the other day that I thought made a really good point. He kind of contradicted my 12 by 30 take, but he was talking
Mm,
about like you don't need to spend all this time on one thing, like you can do multiple things. And I think there's seasons to things where sometimes it is
yeah,
a 12 by 30 season. And I
yes.
was trying to sit around coming up with a 12 by 30 for myself to do in January. And I was like, real shit, it's just not the moment for it. Like it's a moment in time. Like I don't even have the shit from PED. Like if I was gonna do a 12 by 30, it's gonna be in March when the inventory shows up. And I'm
Yeah,
just gonna blast a fuck ton of ads or something like
yeah.
that. That might be when I do something like that. But right now that doesn't even make
It'd
sense.
probably be that
And
season and the season where you realize, because I know you don't want to take anything out of the business, but if you're doing 500 a year and you can survive on like 3 to 4 to 5K, it's like that's still basically not taking out anything. Like so it's such a
right.
small amount in compare. Like you're taking 10% out.
Yeah.
Um, so I think also that moment of transition would also be another time that would probably call for leaning back in because like, oh, I'm good on the real estate. Like now let's
Yeah.
really see what I can do and it's what's literally 100% instead of like 60,
Yeah.
70.
Yeah, that's I think that's gonna be an interesting moment for me because really my plan is like I'm gonna pay myself more out of the real estate LLC. I'm gonna cut back like kind of the same way with content. I'm like, I don't know what investment I need to make in myself other than inventory. Like there's no course I need, no program I need at this point, no coaching. I know what the fuck to do. So like all those expenses are gonna be gone. So really, I am going to be the only expense of my LLC, my real estate LLC. So I'm going to pay myself a higher salary out of that and just pocket more personal income, drain
Yeah.
that one and just live off of that. It'll be an interesting moment when I'm like the PED's rocking and I'm like, okay, like I'll just literally go all in on this thing.
Yo, New Year's
It'd
Eve,
be
let's go.
yeah, it'll be an interesting transition to that will definitely be a moment where I'll need to lock the fuck in. But anyways, with my point with that was I think he made a good point though, because he was talking about like Sinbad. That is, he was made a good point because he was just saying that you can do all these things. I'm like, it is kind of true. Like if you really like just cut out all the ruminating, all the fucking wasted time, all the phone checks, like you'd be shocked how much you can get done. And so I was in a spot where for a bit there, I was like, I need to put like I can't even think boxing, I can't even think fitness, anything. I just literally I can't think about anything but just get the money. That might actually be, now that I'm thinking about it, part of the reason I've been so fucking wound up in December. I've been just spinning around this thing, which is PED, which isn't quite ready for liftoff yet because I don't even have the inventory. So I'm just staring at it while trying to like map out my year. And that might actually be part of why I've been stressed out this month. But so I think I am still committed to I want to do this pro boxing fight and I want to do it this year. And so I think like another thing I'm gonna mash the gas on this year is like really the challenge. I even wrote it on my board here was basically like just leave it all on the field. That's kind of my mentality for this year. I just want to see like if I just
Yeah.
give it everything I've got, like what can I get done? Could I
Yeah.
realistically get to the end of this year with a $500,000 revenue supplement business, with a real estate business that did slightly better than the previous year, with a pro boxing fight under my belt, in the best shape I've ever been in? Could I just do all this shit with the best mindset I've ever had? Like, could I just mash the gas? And like deep down, I feel like I can. And like, it's just going to be like, I'd have to nail it. And so maybe that's an unattainable standard, but like, I feel like it can be done. And so that's kind of my mentality going into it, is just like all this shit's here for the taking in every area of my life. Leave it all in the field. And also because I guess, like I said, also I'm turning 29. I'm going to at some point in my mid 30s. I want to look back and feel like I've checked boxes that I don't look back in the future and be like, I wish I did those things.
Mm,
Like I will look back and like I've always had like this athletic background and interest in athletics. Like I think checking even the boxing box off there will be like ending a chapter or something. Like I proved something to myself in this area, because like and then I can move into like a phase in my mid 30s that I'd like to get into where I have a family and these kinds of things. And so it feels important to me to just leave everything on the field, in my business, in training, in the gym, with my health, just max the selfish button out basically of like all the personal accolades, so that I have that like sense of like I've ended this chapter the way I wanted to end it, and now I'm like ready to have kids. I'm ready to have a wife and those kinds of things.
Yeah, no, I like that. I would agree. Like that's the leaving out on the field thing, and like we're human, so but I would say like if we left it out 85% of the time, like we're gonna win.
Yeah.
Like and it's also an exercise where I'm looking at through the lens of like because I really just am trying to just give up, like stop taking credit for this stuff and like really see it as like blessings. Like yes, my actions were like requesting it from God and from life and whatnot, but this next year I'm like, what would be the ultimate thank you for like him literally placing the path in my lap and like giving me these things I asked for and like the things I didn't know I needed but needed in terms of like the lessons and the mind changing would be to leave it all out on the field.
Hmm.
It's like otherwise like I didn't utilize what he gave me fully.
Yeah. That's my favorite Bible parable is the talents parable.
Yeah.
We just keep getting
Yeah,
blessed, and it's
we
just like,
cannot bury our coin.
yeah, you just got to double the fuck down. Yeah. Like, I think, yeah, I mean, even though you're a few years younger than me, I still think it's like we're both very much in that same chapter where like we could close the book on something in a few years if we just gas it and be in a completely different stratosphere where we've like a phase of our life we did what we wanted to do with it. And like not like I mean, we'll always be the same driven people, I imagine, but like it'll just take on a different form. It'll be ready to.
I
That was something I
agree.
had to remind myself of this year, even was like, let 32-year-old Keefe deal with 32-year-old Keefe problems. Like
Yeah,
28-year-old Keefe needs to do the things so that 32-year-old Keefe can then do those things. It's like I have to do this for my future self because I don't want to look back and like even with like 24-year-old Keefe, I'm like he was fucking struggling, but he was trying, and I'm like, all right, you did your part, man. Like you got it this far. Now my brain's not a complete shithole, so now I can like take this and
daily
fucking run with it.
uploads.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, yeah. Shout out 24-year-old Keith, man. His brain was a total wreck, but he uploaded on YouTube every day, and he was giving it all he
Yeah.
had, man. He was just helplessly
And now you
lost.
have that, and that literally is the muscle you have now, where like you can just churn on something. You can just flip a switch over and over, which is great for ecom, because right
Hmm.
now the way to win is volume of ads, and that's
Yeah.
something I'm still. That's why I need help. Like I'm still
Hmm.
not there. I'm just like better than average, which is why I have some winners right now. But the volume thing is still the bottleneck, I'd say. But you have that muscle, where it's like you can just
Yeah.
churn and churn, especially when you hire someone, where it's like you're just kind of maybe you're putting notes in like Frameo or like you're making B-roll that you put in a drive that someone else edits with like a voiceover or something, like things like that. Like you have that muscle now. So it was like you thought it was to get 100,000 subs and like a sponsorship or something, but it was actually to build that muscle for now. And you
Yeah.
didn't know that, but like it all made perfect sense. It all needed to happen. The work was valid.
That's like another Bible verse. There is profit in all labor.
Hmm.
That's very true. I just think like even what we were talking about, I think I was going to come back to this point at some point earlier on. We were kind of discussing like things we learned over the last few years that have like set us up, like even with the like trying to put the square peg in the round hole with content, but now those same muscles help you here with creating ads. Like you step into it and have a huge advantage. That was what happened with me with real estate. Was all the content I created allowed me to just step in and be significantly better than everybody at creating content because I understood direct marketing from it. And like you said, yeah, like mashing that button, like that's been a button I've mashed like most of my life, I guess. Like I mean, I even look back on like being 10 years old and my parents giving me a $2 a week allowance, and I saved it for like 2 years straight to buy a Nintendo Wii. Like I didn't spend any money for like 2 years or something. And then like, working out, like I would just mash that button over and over again. So it's like you learn these traits, you develop these things, and just doing shit is just anything's better than sitting on the fucking couch. And it's like even in the face of like fear and challenges, like you have to like that it's almost like a lesson, I think, like a posture you have to take to life of just fully enveloping yourself in it, like just completely immersing yourself in life and just taking it on, the highs, the lows, the whole thing. Because the worst parts are when like you get hit with something and it causes you to stop in your tracks, and it's like you feel like all the momentum of your life slow
Dude,
down, and then
yeah.
that's when you really spiral, and then you got to like ramp it back up and like get out of that
Dude, that
shit.
happened to me when that moment I like sold out of inventory and I was still had like a couple weeks I think of like the next inventory and I was like, yeah, I can make it. Like I was in a weird spot because it was like
Mhm.
all of a sudden the business didn't feel real anymore because there was no
Mhm.
money flowing, and I
Mhm.
didn't have the stuff to sell. So like that was like one of those things where I was like, oh, damn. Now like,
Yeah.
but now I'm saying like I'm down to my last handfuls of packaging, and I hopefully it ships out this week, but that's still like 5 days, business days of like getting it flown over. But like I got to remember, I'm like, even if that happens, even if I have to put the glasses on pre-order for a couple days or something, like that
Mhm.
does not mean curl up into a ball and just wait,
Yeah.
like it just there's enough to keep doing.
Well, I think I'm not certain about this, but what I'm going to experiment with this is just I think that all momentum is kind of the same. Like, I mean, even when we did the 12 by 30, I had great diet discipline. Like, I nailed the diet every
Yeah,
day. And I
no, it
just think it's like
compounds.
it just all is the same. And it's like, if you're fucked up somewhere, you'll be fucked up somewhere else.
Yeah,
And
I
like,
can't go if I go a couple days without the gym, it will manifest into like business, like something going wrong, or like personal life. I get distracted or like whatever, is
well,
because
that's
this
what I was
output
just
wasn't tapped
thinking.
into.
It's like if you have to put the 24s on pre-order, like the natural reaction is like, okay, what can I do in this business in the meantime? Maybe the answer is like, I just need to ace my diet and train like a madman because that's what's right in front of me for me to have momentum on. And it's just like the thing you don't want to lose is that mental state of forward momentum. And if you just keep
Yeah,
that going, then the inventory shows back up. You're still in that state. But if you stare at it for too long and you don't, because sometimes that's just like I said, with the linear nature of real estate, I was just staring at that shit a lot of times this year when it's like the answer is like it just takes time. And this is just a process. This is not an exponential curve. You can't force this into reality sometimes. That's something I'm gonna apply. Like I think even for me, like while I wait for the PED inventory to get in, I'm like, I should just go to boxing every fucking night and train. Like I should just like I'll take one day a week off, but I should just train twice a day and just eat perfectly and just focus on that and maybe read a book a fucking week or something. Just come up with just generate some shit that is positive momentum so that I'm in that space. And then when that shows up, it's the same mental space I'm in to attack it. It's like an attack posture you want to have about
yeah,
everything in your life.
yeah. You're just leaning forward constantly.
Yeah. Well, dope.
Yeah,
Do we have anything else? I mean, this ended up being a good chat, I feel like.
I feel like that's it. Like we kind of laid it all out. Well,
Hmm.
actually, I need a whiteboard.
Oh, true. You got a
I
whiteboard max, yeah.
Yeah, because I for an ad, I need to draw something, so I put a giant piece of paper on my because that one wall in my office is painted black, and I was like, that looks sick, like the white with the drawing on it and stuff. So I'm like, I
Hmm.
need a whiteboard. So now for Christmas, I got Amazon gift cards, so basically a free
Nice.
whiteboard.
Yeah. Fuck
So
yeah.
then I'll write all the stuff for the year on the whiteboard, and then it's just guaranteed. It's gonna fall into the palm of my hand.
I wish it were that true. I would have been rich in 2020.
Yeah.
Well, all right,
Nice.
dude. Well, this podcast is sponsored by 24th and PED, the
Yes,
fucking
dude.
operators podcast
Go
thing.
buy these. Go
Yeah,
buy
go
these
buy your
glasses. Go pre-order.
PED.
Is the pre-order gonna be up, or is it
Pre-order's gonna
just
be
the
coming
email
out
list
in
right
about a
now?
week. Pre-order will be ready in about a week.
Okay,
Uh,
get on the email list.
get on the email
Order
list. I'll
these
put it in
glasses
the
right
link.
now.
Yeah.
There's probably a little buy one get one going on right now for the new year. And look,
Nice.
that's literally a blue refraction. It literally works, and they're better than the Amazon ones. And Keefe supplement is gonna be like the best thing
Yeah.
ever if you care
Literally.
for performance.
Literally.
There's no such thing. It doesn't exist. If you wanted it in any other fashion, it would be because I do that right now because I don't have it. It's like $150 to $200 a month, buying
Hmm.
everything individually, and you have to dose it all right, and it's a pain. And I don't know about you, I don't like drinking 2 gallons of water to consume all my
Yeah.
powders and supplements in the morning because then I can't even work because I'm just peeing nonstop. So
Yeah.
he's gonna solve all of those problems.
If you want to crush your business, get jacked, have the best pumps in the gym, increase your strength. Literally, my friend Connor, who weighs 143 pounds, he took fucking PED and was benching 250. Like, if you want to
That's
just
nuts,
crush it,
dude. That's so
yeah. If you
crazy.
want to, yeah, that was nuts. That was one of my favorite videos ever. Was him
I'll
doing that.
put
That was so
D-ball in his
funny.
powder.
Yeah, this shit's crazy, and it's natural. Everything, so like no gut issues, no sucralose bullshit. Like, it's the real fucking deal, guys. And if you're gonna gas my shit up, I'll gas your shit up. I've told everybody like on if you're doing a 12 by 30 the mog. I told everybody in the 12x30, I was like, get a pair of blue light blockers, because like I wore those things the whole time when we did the 12x30, and they really are an absolute game changer. You got to have some 24 blue light blockers. They're the
Third
best
party
ones on the
tested.
market.
The
Third
ops
party
aren't third party
tested.
tested because they're
Third
from
party tested.
AliExpress. These are not.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Like I had Roka ones first, and I'm not shitting on Roka. They were fine, but yours are definitely stronger. They block more. It's very obvious that they're the best ones on the market, and they look the best too. They don't look like cheap plastic crap. So yeah, go get your, like, if you want a New Year's resolution, get 24th in PED. Your year will be fucking set.
that's literally true because
Yeah.
performance and recovery. That's the the vectors that they're
Yeah.
maximizing.
You're gonna absolutely win. Well, all right, guys. Appreciate you watching till the end, and we'll see you in the next one.